won't deal with you. Some people say, look at you, you are useless, make you. Some people say, I won't deal with you. Some people say, look at you, you are useless. I've come to tell you.
Having a pre-recorded program aired shortly, and this is because 2 weeks ago we did record it, and unfortunately due to technical issues we had to postpone it for today. Anyway, there are various topics on relationship and marriage that has been advertised that we will be talking about shortly. So for the next couple of weeks we're going to be having a fantastic topic for discussion regarding marriages, whether it's good to be single, it's good to be married, divorced, you name it. We're going to be having special guests coming in and experts who are going to be joining me on Facts of Life with Abbilicious to talk about issues pertaining to relationship and marriages. And also I will be going back on the initial program, which is to do with how domestic violence affects children. Yes, a couple of weeks ago we had the lovely Amaka from Nigeria, who flew over for a conference here in the UK, and she appeared on Facts of Life with Abbilicious to talk about her role as the CEO of Child Dignity organization, very popular in Nigeria. She had a lot to say, and there were questions asked, so please tune in to watch a lovely interview with her, and hopefully you'll be able to put your questions on the online box, or also give us a call in if you feel that there are some things you want to contribute as well into the program regarding the child, how domestic violence and spousal abuse affect children in the relationship. Thank you very much.
All they did in 3 years is one signboard, one gatehouse, and one house. Yours is even better. You can see one signboard, one gatehouse, and one house within 3 years. In my own case, after 1 year, there was no longer a signboard. All phone numbers were unavailable. Ego if we go.
What? That's bad. As for me, I'm glad my steps were ordered to remain in state phase 2. I saw their history, capabilities, their investment. What they put into phase 1 in terms of roads, drainages, the whole infrastructure, they're legit. I felt safe joining phase 2, taking advantage of their introductory prices.
Be smart, be wise. Key into Amen Estate phase 2 from just 10 million naira per plot with a 20% initial deposit and the balance paid over a year, or homes from 37 million naira on the same terms. You too can live a quality lifestyle in a serviced development where everything works.
My viewers and followers of Facts of Life with Abbilicious know who you are.
Okay, my name is Amaka. I'm the Executive Director of Child Dignity Foundation, and what Child Dignity Foundation is all about is trying to advocate for children in Nigeria, and trying to give them safe haven and build up, because we believe they are our future. So the whole idea about Child Dignity Foundation is advocacy for children and restoring hope for our country, our future in our country.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. So tell me, this domestic violence issue that happens in a household, because there's a lot of times we only advocate about the women. The other time I did a segment about men suffering domestic violence. And now, yes, it was honestly, believe it or not, it's been one of those things that, because how men are, they don't talk about it. So it was a very interesting, yes, it's like silence. There's a film coming out actually called Hell, about, you know, how men also suffer domestic violence in the hands of women. But anyway, today we're talking about...
Maybe when the film comes out.
Exactly. Well, we'll let you know, honestly. I'm going to be watching it, but it's not yet out. It's something that I think a lot of people should go and watch, because I've seen the preview, and it's quite interesting. Anyway, today it is about the children. Tell me, darling, with your NGO, how does this affect the, you know, children? I mean, how do you feel that this domestic violence, because a lot of times we hear the children end up being mentally affected, emotionally, you know, they grow up as well to become abusers themselves.
Yes. When it comes to domestic violence, you know, a lot of people don't pay attention. When you live abroad, the first thing they do say this child needs help. They refer you to psychologists or therapy to help calm, because there's one key thing with a child that goes through sees the parents, the mother being abused, you know, the first
Or
thing...
the father.
Or the father.
Yes.
Say they
Because
have
it
the
works both
first thing,
ways.
yes, it works both ways. I agree with you absolutely. So you have the first issue is they have emotional problem. You understand? And it attach you as it goes. You see behavioral pattern changes and some things. Now I'll give you an instance. In our own society, they don't really understand why the child needs a therapy or needs to see psychology. A child sees the father or the mother, they get violent or they're fighting or doing something like that. And as he grows up, we begin to see, okay, violence is the way of life. If he wants something, he doesn't believe in negotiating skills. He believes, if I want this, either I go for it or I boost. No, there's a way they go about it. So it's like they became, sometimes they are hyperactive, or, you know, everything they want to do this, they want to do that.
They become emotionally hyperactive.
Then sometimes you walk the other way. You see the child, he grows up, the child is withdrawn. They want in a secluded environment. They don't want to mingle or associate themselves with other kids. But the very common one we have is that I have a friend. Do you know what the daughter does? She can't stand meal.
Really?
Yes,
I have you know, come to think of what you're saying, I know of a sister who's a younger sister whose daughter vows not to marry when she grows up. And I said, why? She said, because, well, my mom was beaten by my dad and stuff, so I don't like men, I don't like boys and stuff.
They're angry, they look for a way to vent it. You see some kids, you see them, they can't stand male around them. Hers was at age 4. In fact, when she sees my son, she wants to beat, she wants to fight, because she's seen her father always doing it. There was a day we even had to rescue her from the guy. He got so angry, he had the braid in public and was pulling her, and then it was meant to be a tournament, a beauty pageant. She was part of the organizers. I'm telling you, at 1 a.m., this guy was dealing with her.
Oh my goodness.
And pulling her hair. You know, she had to run home. And in fact, she made us understand she ran home and the guy was still doing the same thing at home. So in fact, they are both ways. It works both ways, but sometimes it gets on the side that the child is or the child becomes very destructive. You understand? They become even to express themselves, they don't really know how to communicate better. They either communicate in a very violent or
aggressive manner.
So they don't calm down or try to talk or get rational. Some, they don't want to come out, they don't want to deal with anybody. You know, there are a lot of things, you see. Then another part is that if it goes on for a very long time, the child doesn't have very good self-esteem.
Yes, that's something, because I also have an NGO, and I know for many years I've campaigned on domestic violence, done a lot of things on child abuse and special needs children, which we'll be talking a little bit about on the autistic side. And I know with some autistic children, because of the violence that their parents have been through, they become aggressive, even though some of them are calm, but they do have the hyperactive disorder as well, which is something that, you know, maligns with being from a domestic violence situation. And so they become, especially when they got the Asperger's syndrome of autism. But having said that, what does your NGO, I mean, you and your NGO been doing to help the vulnerable, you know, the couple, whether it's the guy, the man, or the woman who is suffering and when they have children? What have you been doing?
We've had several issues like that. Like we don't really do domestic violence, but we end up working with them because you have kids involved in the marriage, and sometimes these kids give stress. So the school or somebody calls your attention to it, or the kids might be referred to you to help them know how to go about and handle the child, because they begin to see some of them get very rebellious. So now the girls, you see, they get funny. They don't even want to be called to order. You understand?
Oh, no.
Then we've had cases like what we be doing. I could give you an instance of. I remember a girl. She doesn't really communicate much with the mother. The mother don't really know what's going on with her. And the mother.
Is it that how old is this girl we're talking about?
We're talking. She was about 14.
14.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, she was about 14. So she's always withdrawn and stuff like that. You know, from the one I've always supported that child, even when she was, because she apparently turned out to be in my kid's school. Oh. From the one I've always seen there's something not right about her. Yeah,
because she's very withdrawn. She's very.
And you see her, she doesn't have, not even defense, just you see her self-confidence. She's even afraid to say something to you because she don't want to hurt you or make you feel bad.
And this is because she's constantly been in an environment of abuse, or has she also been abused herself? Because what normally happens is if an abuser attacks an adult, they end up also attacking the children.
Yes, I agree with you. They do that. Most of them do that. Most of them do that because they're just a violent person. So they do that most of the time. But the issue here when it comes to the child is that it goes two ways, like I keep saying. The child begins to see it as a way of life. So the child might even end up living in an abusive relationship. Or the child gets on the other part that, look, nobody tell me nonsense or tell me anything. They just get really, really very aggressive. You understand now? For our own part, like for that girl's own part, what happened to her was that the father was abusing the mother till the mother left and the stepmom came in. You understand? But for her, she didn't know how to deal with the girl. You understand?
So she was more of, okay, she went into the marriage not realizing that the father, or did she not know that the father was abusing, being violent to the mother, or she knew about it, or she heard stories, or she just...
I don't know, sometimes these things you don't go into most of those details and stuff like that. But what we could tell by the time I started accessing this, because she would even know what to do with her. And her parents kept on calling her. There was this funny name they were calling her. Was it robot or scarecrow? I can't remember, because the way she's always feeling defeated, the way she stands and do things, she didn't really want to come. So she had, as well as she was suffering what she went through in her own house, she was having peer pressure issue from her own. So you understand, there were two things on that child. You understand? So even the teachers sometimes, they don't really understand. It's just few of them that want to give her. They're not very patient trying to understand what this child is going through. So, but for her, the stepmom didn't know what to do with her. And she's like, okay, fine, I heard you help this kid, this kid, I don't know what's her problem and stuff like that. So I tried talking to her, we just play and try to assess it. And for the first time, she felt somebody was giving her attention, making her feel love, paying attention to her. You understand what I'm trying to say? So she felt, so that was how I was able to assess that child. I had to come down to her level for us to assess that child. But the danger of this is that when the child keeps on, if that girl had kept on in the same condition she is for a while, she's prone to child sexual abuse.
Obviously, because at the end of the day, she's vulnerable. Then if a man intimidates her, she becomes, she feels that's
when they start giving, they have stages of abuse.
Of course, obviously, yes.
So you have the enticement stage where they do all those stuff. So now if the guy begins to know this is what this girl like and this will make her happy, and begin giving, she start feeling, oh, this is love, and she feel anything the person is right because she's gotten the attention she needs from there.
Oh my God. So, but at the end of the day, how many of those kids have you been able to, is there a way to help them on a reform basis? Is there some center opened in Nigeria? And I know that some African countries are beginning to do like a rehabilitation center for them. Is there counseling? Are you able to provide that for them? And then if they do, how long, who do they contact? Because I've had a lot of my guests from doing a lot of fantastic work with their NGOs in Nigeria and over here as well, including myself, that we do quite a lot of stuff over, helping people of the less privileged. But I wanted to know, how are you able to, with the reform and stuff like that, what is your role? What is you and your NGO's role? What role are you guys playing on this?
Okay, what we do basically, we try to reach out to the kids.
Okay.
And one good thing I'll tell you that.
So how do you reach out? Do you do demonstration? Do you do, sort of like a
each
promo?
case has a different way
Yeah.
dealing with it. You understand? I can tell you, I'm
Or
dealing
do
with
you
this
create
child like that.
awareness on a media platform like what you're doing right now?
Yeah, they love doing it. They love doing it. Even in Lagos, I will tell you, Lagos, one good thing Lagos State has done, they have centers for all those things.
Yes, I know of Saffron, which I will be introducing you to. Yemisi, she's into this child safety and stuff like that, and she was on my show as well. And I know that there's quite a few that Lagos State have been helping, sort of like collaborating with. But is it just
they don't really
Lagos
know them, but most people don't know about it. You understand what I'm trying to say? But another thing they're trying to do now, make sure the schools all have counselors in the schools.
Which is quite, I think that's good. But
that's good. But
is it a federal thing or just Lagos State?
Federal, I don't know how many states has it working for them. I'm just talking about the one I know. I know some states they don't even. It's like there's a lot of work to be done.
Places like Calabar, because I know that in the area of Port Harcourt and stuff, there's quite a lot of abuse from what I have been told. Even though in the Yoruba section, there is, but also in the north as well, there is a lot of work to be done in the north.
A lot of work to be done.
And they tend to sort of shy away from. They think it's a normal deal life for a child to be in an environment where the dad is beating the mom and it's okay and stuff like that. But like I said, how are you sort of like channeling the awareness? How are you making sure that they know that this is wrong? This is, although your NGO is not more into the domestic side, but you are more of the child abuse.
Yeah, we all, like what I say, it's something we do together. When you try to do things for the child and do just speech therapy, things you can do for the child and advice, because most of the time, if you want to help the child, you need to get to assess the parents too as well, the home, because you can't do that without. I'm giving you a guarantee. The father.
But sometimes you will find that the parents they don't believe they have a problem.
No, they are coming for help now. Trust me. Before they don't seem to be bothered about it, but they begin to understand that something that go wrong with the child is not right. Okay, there's a case. It's even still on.
The one we're going to talk about. You mean the autistic?
What? Yeah, autistic. That's one.
Yeah.
This one is a boy.
Okay.
It's the woman has 4 kids or 3. I can't remember. No, then when we started it was 3, but now she has 4. They had this terrible case of domestic violence. It was really terrible. I
think I've heard about it.
So
I think it was in the news. One of the newspapers.
Okay. So what happened? We got to the house to see when they reported. So we referred them to Alausa, of course, to handle So we referred them to the police, and of course the police was like, whatever, just of course normally brushed aside. So she kept on calling me. They had kids and all doing well. They were suffering, blah blah blah. So I had to go and assess the child. So the day I got there, luckily for me, I met the man. I went early because I wanted to be sure both parents are there. So when we got there, I met the man. I called the kids. And I was like talking to him that this is what's not right, blah blah blah. And at the point he kept quiet. I was like, he's going to make amends and stuff, normal thing you hear. So the first one came and I was like, did your dad quit your dad? She just looked at him and said, will you quit your dad? And he said, good morning. Then the second one came and he was like, greet him. Why will I greet him? This man, I used to hit my mommy.
Oh my God.
And I'm not joking. That boy was one tough nut to crack. It took me almost like 20 minutes before that boy.
Come to say what you're saying. I've been in a situation where it's the other way around, where the mother was the one abusing the father, and the domestic violence, and the kids grew up, and one of the boys refused to talk to the mom because his own term is, you are an abuser, you used to abuse my dad.
I have respect for my father.
You have no respect for my dad, and there's no reason why I would allow you, because he then had a child, and he didn't want a situation where the mom was, around his son, because he felt she was an abuser, and there was no reason why she should be allowed around. It took, around the kid, it took a lot of talking and persuasion, like this boy you're talking about, for us to make him understand, look, that was then, but she's no longer that woman.
It's a difficult one. Because you really, to assess, especially when the person is now really mature, it's a very difficult one.
I think what would not happen is this, because I know you guys are going soon. What would you like to say today? Because we're sort of like, this is an awareness that a lot of people need to know that this thing does exist with this child abuse. Domestic violence, how it affects children. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually and stuff. So what is the last, because we want to make sure that the viewers and the public are able to understand what you do and how you can help with your NGO. If they go to Nigeria, I mean, you're going back to Nigeria shortly, how do you then communicate? How would they get in touch with you? How would they be able to come down to see you with issues of, we're discussing? So how do you want to sort of speak to because we want you to have 5 minutes with the camera to let people know that this is what you're into. We're still going to quickly touch on the autistic child but I want the viewers and the public to know where they can reach out to. I know there's a lot of people doing this, but for your end, for what you do, and I know you've been doing it for years, please speak to the audience.
Okay, yeah, we have a website, and it's Child Dignity Foundation and .org. It's with there. Once you get there, you get all our details. Our address is there, our phone number is there. You can even email us at Child Dignity, info at childdignityfoundation.org. It's there, or you can even email me personally, Amaka at childdignityfoundation.org, and you get all our details there.
Does it have also the kind of incentives? Say for instance, if the person is being sent out of the house, sheltered wise,
no, we don't do shelter, but we can always refer you, because we work with other NGOs. When it comes to issues of all child abuse, domestic violence, it's not a business for one person to do, or something, obviously, or any one NGO to run.
Yes.
So it's we end up working with other NGOs, so we always refer you. When we know it's an issue we can't deal with, we always refer them to different NGOs, and there are NGOs that run shelters as well. So that's what we'll do. So we refer them to NGOs. But the thing is that the truth is that people need to understand, when it comes to domestic violence, there's a lot of, it's a formation period for a child, seeing the father abusing the mother, or the mother abusing the father,
obviously,
and it affects that child psychologically. Sometimes it's even post-traumatic disorder.
Post-traumatic disorder.
It comes on later on. It might not even be at that point in time, but later on.
So they become psychotic. They become, schizophrenic. There's a lot of issues that tend to happen that.
And with that, the child's potential is being affected and limited to as well.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Now, quickly touching on this thing before we leave, the one of the lady whose husband, ended up marrying the housemaid, sales girl. Yeah. Now, this thing was brought to my attention a couple of months ago. One of my journalist friends in Nigeria posted it to me. I said, but unfortunately, because I have so much doing, or not until when your husband and myself were talking yesterday, he mentioned it to me, and I said, oh my goodness, I had no idea that you've been helping this lady, and even giving her money and stuff like that. So now, where is the case now? Because it's something that, from what I have been told, obviously, I'm hoping that our viewers and other public and other NGOs can all collaborate together and help this woman, because I think for a child that's got autism, who's special needs and stuff, this is something that needs to be done. This is wrong, because the child did not ask to be born that way. So, and if this man has money, because I know that some of my friends who are in the government, they're watching the program, they're listening. What helped? Because I was told the judge was compromised as well. So, I mean, how can we help those women? Because this is a child's future we're talking about.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it beats my imagination, and sometimes that's one story I don't really feel too good talking about, because there were too many things. Because
there's a lot of people, a lot of cases like this that people, I mean, children or adults are suffering from. That, you know, goes, people just get sweeps off under the carpet. They don't talk about it. Nobody wants to help. So, I mean, what for now? Because this is something I'm not interested in. So I'm hoping that we can sort of like work together and help those women to get the child maintainers from this man, from the work that she's done. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You build an empire, you do something, and the man then ends up taking it and marrying your sales girl, and then don't give you anything, and you have to be relying on handouts from people.
One thing I'll say about this case, and I keep telling people, especially people that deal with domestic violence, when you go through this case, you understand why Nigerian women stay in the house when they're being abused, and it's a home where there's confirmed evidence of domestic violence, because they don't want to go through all the process of all these orders you get where you fight against the system. Now, for this woman,
is it fair that the system is not being treated well? I mean, the system is not helping the vulnerable.
Yeah, there are measures taken, but implementation has been a problem. You understand? There's no. You don't give them a safe haven, so they rather suffer and die. Because, like this woman's case, I'll tell you currently now, where she's living, it's appalling.
Oh my God! From somebody who had an empire,
build an empire. Because even when she registered the company, it's proven out. We have documentation of all this.
So what?
The man was in jail in America.
Why can't the thing be taken to the high courts?
Is in the high? The high court decide.
Couldn't she appeal her case?
You know the amazing part.
Yes.
The guy appealed. Not even she. He's the one that appealed. Reason why he did the appeal, just to kill time, to buy time, and make sure he doesn't give her anything.
Okay. Now, we will, because the thing is, we will continue with what we're doing later, because I know this is something that we have to find more time to talk about. And I think we would have another segment on this issue. And when you're in Nigeria, we can do the interlink connection, and then we can still talk about it. And also you can bring her on board. That's where right. You know, our viewers and the public can actually
hear her story,
and help her to get what is due to her because of what's the daughter's name? I've forgotten what her name is.
She's about to even lose her scholarship because you can't keep up with even the transportation taking the child to school. There are a lot of things involved in it.
And what is the school doing with the scholarship? The government needs to do something about this. And I think, isn't there a way to go to the Ministry of Health, or, get in touch with the Minister of, although they're watching, guys from we're begging you guys from the...
Lasoda.
Oh, yes.
Lasoda.
Well, we have to, because at the end of the day, you guys are watching the program. I know a lot of you are my friends and you do know how I feel when it comes to human rights issues, especially where people's rights are being violated on special needs. So please, we need for you people to do something about this. I will be coming back on this topic.
Nelson Spike here, in UK Nollywood headquarters in London. Do you want to be a part of Nollywood? This is your chance. Join the creative team of Nollywood Spotlight. And together, we will build Nollywood.
Domestic violence and how it affects children and stuff like that. And she's a very intelligent little lady that I, asked to come on the show to talk from her own perspective as a child about domestic violence. Honestly, when we were watching the program, she's been feeding me with fantastic stuff. So, Tumishe, how are you, my darling?
I'm fine, thank you.
You've got no shy now. You were not shy earlier. You were talking. Now, tell me, what do you understand about domestic violence and how it affects children?
Domestic violence, when a child is like bullied, it kind of changes their mood, their lifestyle.
Bullied as in with the parents, or when the parents are fighting each other and then the child witnesses it.
Yeah,
or when...
all types of bullying. Like first one, the school bullying, where the child gets bullied by like other groups of children.
Okay.
It can change their mood.
Okay.
The one and their lifestyle as well. The one where the mom and dad are fighting and the child witnesses it is a different style too.
Okay.
With the one with the mom and dad,
yeah,
the child would like not believe that is happening, because usually if a mom and dad are fighting, they'll keep it a secret from a child. Like they still want their child to know that they're still together, but truly they aren't. And in that case, when the child grows up, they're gonna find it really difficult, because like they see that their mom and dad are fighting, and like if they grow up, they don't know how their lifestyle's gonna be, how they're gonna be able to cope with like their wives and that,
and their husbands.
And their husbands, yeah. And if their children also witness it, then it'll be like it's a repeat. So where did I get this from? Like it's coming from the bottom of my family, where I didn't know from this before. And there's also a film that I watched where this child, he was bullied, and it changed all his lifestyle, and it grew up from the bottom of his family, and it affected him when he got married, and he got children. So
what was the name of the film for our viewers? Can you remember?
I don't remember. It was a Chinese film, so I didn't understand their language.
Okay,
but
you understood what it was all about.
And he went to a prophet, and the prophet told him that all this domestic violence are coming from the bottom of your family, and because the child which is now grown, located the person who bullied him when he was young. He went to them and he killed the person.
Wow.
Yeah. He told the person.
So was his mom or dad, or was a relative that bullied and victimized him?
Yeah.
It was a relative?
Yeah, and he relatives that keep secrets that they don't know, they pretend not to know you, and that he was type of that person. And the boy told the relative that I'm part of your family as well, that I'm your cousin, and that, not knowing that he was tricking him to the top floor of a house. No, sorry, of a 2-story building, and to the top of the edge, and he kicked them off all the way down.
And then he killed him?
He killed him.
Okay. So what you were saying is that sometimes domestic violence can sort of once a child grows up witnessing domestic violence and spousal abuse. Do you understand what spousal abuse is at all? When you're talking about people being abused, it doesn't have to be physical.
Yeah.
When it's emotional, emotional, verbally, mentally. When somebody says, "Oh, you're ugly. Look at you. Your kids are this and that," and does that sort of scene? Have you ever witnessed any, or have you ever, apart from them being taught in school about issues like this? Because you're a very intelligent girl. I'm very impressed with what is coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, I've witnessed one before that happened on the street.
Okay.
Yeah, I was with my mom going down to the shopping mall, going to buy loads of stuff, and I saw these two people fighting.
Okay.
And as well, you can also find them on Facebook where two ladies are fighting, pulling their hair as well.
Is that more of two ladies fighting over a man, or is this just
any type,
bitchiness or something?
Any type. Like, especially with the one with the man, like they'll pull their hair. Especially the one who has long hair. Like, if you have extensions.
Yes, I know. We don't have extensions. Mine are Rastafarian and I love your hair. I don't want you having all those extensions. I like you natural. That's Tumishe's mom. You've done a good job. She's a fantastic girl. Yeah, I'm listening.
So like, they will cut your hair. They'll get scissors. Oh, there's one I witnessed that day. I was watching with my mom, and I just thought, why? Like, now that we've got technology, like different things have just started to happen.
Yes, I know. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 10.
You're 10. Are you sure? You're so mature for your age. You're 10. Oh my goodness. You remind me of another girl called Tenny. Tenny, like, she's fantastic. Maybe I'll have a show of the two of you being around, and it's been nice to hear little kids. It's going to be about focusing on children like yourself. So tell me, for a 10-year-old, you have a brain of someone of a 40-year-old. It's like you're very mature for your age. So from what we're saying, about the fighting and stuff, how do you kind of like in school notice if a friend or someone is going through something similar where the parents, do you guys talk about it in class or in school where say for instance, if Lakeisha, who's your friend, you're looking at me, of course I know Lakeisha, Latoya and Co. If it's your friend or Tenny or something, and then there's a problem, do you guys talk about the relationship about, say a friend of yours, the mom and dad are having problems, and and they sort of like say, oh, I've seen dad beat mom today, I've seen mom beat dad today, and I'm not very happy. Are you able to communicate about that, or do you report it to the school authorities or something? How do you do it?
First, like for example, I would talk to that person first. I'll be like, okay, all you need to do is calm down.
Okay.
Forgive and forget both of them.
How do you do that though? For somebody who's, a 10-year-old, I'm impressed. So forgive and forget. How do you do that? How do you tell a person who, a class or age friend who's going through, is witnessing domestic violence, that, forget about it? Because especially when they're the ones in that situation.
You could, in a way, when I say forgive and forget, like, while the fighting is going on, and you see them, and they see you, everything's gonna be like really messed up, because it's gonna affect you in school.
Yes, true.
Because you won't be able to concentrate. All you'll be thinking is that, oh my god, my mom was beating my dad's beating my mom. This is happening. My dad is threatening my mom. This is happening. It'll affect you in school because, like, you start crying. Like no one would know what's going on with you. Like you just start crying, burst into tears.
But if, like I said, if it's in the friendship, among your friends. Yeah. What are their names? How many friends do you have in school?
I have 4.
Your bestie. Which one is your bestie?
Alexandria.
Is she? Is she alright? Is she okay?
She's nice.
Safe?
Yeah, she's safe.
Ah, see. Lovely. So tell me, say for instance, I'm not saying that's what Alexandra is going through. Say for instance, Alexandra came up to you and, you just notice there's a difference, she's changed. Because sometimes with a child, going through that situation, there's always that, like, keeping away from people, understanding what's going on. So how do you, communicate with each other for her to know that you got her back, or that you're there?
If we were communicating, I'll tell her like to calm down. We will talk through the matter and what happened and then. Because some children nowadays, they'll say, Pinky promised me that you won't tell anyone.
Yes.
And it still happens up to this day.
But if say for instance, you're being promised, well, she confides in you, you say, don't tell anybody, this is what I'm going through, I don't want, my parents to get into trouble. but you know they're not safe. How do you then, as a friend, being told this is what is happening, and you're aware that they are in that situation, how do you do without losing your friendship to that person?
I would advise that person to go meet the head teacher.
And if they don't, do you sort of like do
I won't say I'll force them, but not like force them as in go there, as in like just move there. I'll tell them in like a calm way that you need to take your time, go to the head teacher, have some look for a day that she's got work, but then she has time to talk to you.
Okay.
You can ask her, well, not ask for her schedule, but ask her if she has time to talk. Because in my school, my head teacher, she's the person who, she loves kids.
Okay.
And if she's got work, straight away, she wouldn't lie to you. She'd say, I've got work, but I'll see what I can do to talk to you.
Okay, that's good.
And she will always keep that promise.
Well, that's fantastic.
So I'll tell her, go to the head teacher. If she says that she doesn't have time today, and she said that you should remind her tomorrow, remind her tomorrow. If she said I have time, talk to her through what has been happening throughout the time that your mom and dad have been fighting. Talk to her, and whatever advice she gives you, take it.
Okay.
Because if you take it, it could help you in your future. Like, it might not affect the other things you want to do later on in your future.
But because sometimes what happens is, for my own area of being a human rights activist and stuff, and which I believe sometimes a situation like that is very direct. But it's always good to hear from a child's point of view, to understand if you're not going through it and you have a friend going through it, how you guys kind of,
guide each other.
Yeah, guide each other and help each other to be able to stop that thing from happening, reoccurring consistently. But, when you do that, don't you feel that then the authority gets involved and they start, with the police and, what do you then say? Oh, don't tell them, don't tell anybody, I don't want anybody to know my mom and dad are sort of, fighting is affecting me, or I'm being abused, at home. Don't you think that would sort of then make that person feel more vulnerable, where they might want to take them out of the house to live in a foster home or care home or something?
Yeah, it could lead to that at some point, but it'll be for their good.
For their good. But
I understand they love their mom.
Yes.
They love their dad. But at some point, mom and dad have it difficult. And there's this number for children.
Is it that the childline number you're talking about?
Number.
And then
it
NSPC or something. NSPCC or something.
Yeah. But with the childline, it doesn't always go to the police. I've tried childline before because nothing's happened. Okay. But childline, I've seen their website, and
you seem to know everything, madam. How come you sort of like somebody who likes, what do you want to do when you grow up? Let me ask you this.
I used to think I wanted to be a doctor. Then I changed my mind to being a midwife.
No, I think
then I also changed my mind to nurse. No. Then I changed my mind, but I'm not exactly sure what to do.
Let me give you guidance, because you're somebody I see being in the front line helping people. Human rights, you could be on my line. It is a good thing to do. The only challenge about that is you will get people attacking it, but you're a strong girl, so I think you will stand up to bullies. I don't think you're the type that will get bullied. I've seen a little bit of stuff you've been doing here. Yeah, he said, well, our producer saying journalist. She's coughing. You're funny. So she's saying she doesn't want to be a journalist. She wants to be either a doctor. You could be a lawyer, a human rights lawyer.
Yeah.
Something to do with helping people.
With a journalist, I'm not I'm the type of person who likes to go into medical stuff, but at the same time loves to like.
Is mom a nurse?
No.
Okay, so
She's
it's
a
just
hairdresser.
Okay, good.
But yeah, and I'm a type of person who likes.
Hairdresser as a profession.
Yeah.
At least he's using that to help you to go to school. And dad?
Yeah. Dad, he does engineering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got the brain from mom and dad, or
both?
Yeah, both. Good.
So but
you know,
mostly,
mom.
yeah.
Mm.
So what was I saying?
You were telling me about what you want to be. I asked
yeah. So I like doing something medical, but at the same time.
What kind of medical field? Is it a gynecologist? Want to be in medicine? You want to be a surgeon? Or, you know, what's the one, you know, they fix people? When you become like, what's it called again?
Oh, you mean plastic surgery?
Yeah, that one. Or you want to do something else? What is it?
To be honest, I'm in love with children.
Oh, like me. Like
yeah.
I'm in love with you.
I love babies, I love children. Like
okay, so you want to sort of like be a gynecologist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like let's say for example my auntie, she had twins, was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Oh bless. So you sort of like babysitter. Are you getting paid for it? Or is it all freebies?
All free.
Really?
Just for the moment, because they're still young, like they're still newborn.
Okay.
But yeah, so like when I hear my mom talking to my auntie, saying that we might look for another day to come to their house, because I've been to their house already when
they had the baby.
Yeah, and every time she says we might look for a day to come to your house, behind her back, I'm like, yes, they come. I'll go there again.
So it's like you're always looking. You know, the thing is, kids, you guys are wonderful, but you know, you have your moments as well. Because I know, you know, I love kids myself, but you know, I think children are a gift from God, and it's always good to hang around you guys because you're funny, you're witty, and you remind me of when I was a kid as well. And I look at it, and you know, my dad loved cake. I think we all took it from him because my brothers and everybody were just kid mad. So we go crazy for other people's babies. I have friends on Facebook who post all their children's, and I'm like, isn't it adorable? Isn't she beautiful? But it's always good that you yourself, you love children. And I think being a child person, so that means we'll settle for being a gynecologist.
Yeah, I get my loving babies from my mom. It actually came from my family because my grandma, who is now dead, rest in peace. But she, every time, like we had neighbors, you know, in Nigeria you have neighbors, like all your neighbors are together. You live in one story building, so like everyone knows my mom around the neighborhood. Like,
oh bless.
They know.
So are you the only one who've got siblings?
I've got an older brother.
Okay. So how's that relationship?
It's not kind of. It's good, but when it gets to a point where we just get fed up with each other and we leave each other.
Look, let me tell you something. I'm the only girl, so you can imagine. Yes, and I tell you one thing with brothers, they will look after you. They always protect you. Sisters, yeah, they're okay, but you have that situation where they then turn around and they start to, oh, you wear my skirts, you wear my jacket, you know. But with brothers, you know, eventually you will get along.
I remember the time when my brother came from Nigeria down to London. I was around like 6, he was 9, turning 10, I think. And we went to church and really tired, and the next day was church. During church I slept off. Like, you know, when you just meet your brother for the you like to hang around. And I slept off. My brother was like this. I was like, oh my God. I was like, he was holding me. before cold, like I'm on the chair, I'm cold.
I didn't say it. I was looking forward to it.
And recently when he came, we had a fight, but we still enjoy and we still love each other.
Of course. Who are you gonna love?
He took my coat, and I was so angry. I was like, "Why do you have to take my coat?" Because that's the coat I wanted to wear out.
So he wore your coat.
And
are you guys on the same size? Really?
He's skinnier than me.
Is it?
So basically the same.
Listen, he's gonna get fatter as well, you know, when he grows up and marries and have his own family.
Yeah.
And he's been eating pounded yam. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, little woman? And you're gonna be somebody's sister-in-law. You know that? You're gonna be somebody's sister-in-law, and you're gonna be someone's auntie. So you're gonna have loads of nieces and nephews and stuff. And listen, on your bit as well, we come to your wedding, we'll be there, and I'll be like, yeah, this is Tumisha's big mommy here and stuff. Oh gosh, we're having so much fun. They're telling us to let it go. Can you imagine? Don't mind them, Jerry. We are still talking our own. We don't want to their hand. So what you say, Jerry? I'm listening, my darling.
Going back to the medical,
yes.
I like so I was saying my grandma, every time, like, they will inform, because my grandma, she's a baby lover. 24/7 she can be with a child, like look after the child, do anything.
So more or less, when wonder is going back to the topic we're discussing, darling, before we digress, that, you know, when a child, so it's sort of like when you see a friend or you see a child going through that, your duty or care normally is to sort of like help that child or the person. So tell me, what is your last word against domestic violence affecting children? How do you want to address parents that are doing it and letting them understand that this is not nice, whether it's the mom versus the dad or the dad versus, because the thing is, domestic violence is not just about a man hitting a woman. It's usually also the other way around now, because you know, and the program that we did, bless Amaka, when she came from Nigeria for the program, we talked about it, and I mentioned there's a film coming out, a Nigerian big movie. It's called Help, where I saw somebody being slapped, a man being slapped by his missus, because I think it came late or something. Yes, I'm telling you, it was horrible. And then he fell on the floor. You know, men do get abused, and it's unfortunate. So you tell our viewers there what your facts of life with Abbilicious. What your last intake on, you know, this issue is. What do you think? And how do you want to tell them, you know, if you guys are doing this, we're the little kids, we're gonna come for you. Make sure that you guys, you know, stop it and stuff. Because it's good to have a little children movement, don't you think?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
For all the moms and dads that are out there, I believe, like, if you want to do your fighting, don't do it near your children, please. Because it affects their life, it affects their education, it affects basically their future. Because what they'll be thinking is that my mom and dad are fighting, my mom and dad are fighting, my mom and dad are fighting. But they wouldn't be, still, like, when they get married, they still wouldn't be able to take it off. Because if you get married and you have children, your children will be like, where's grandma, where's granddad? They don't know what to say. Like, they won't be able to say, oh, grandma and granddad, oh, sisters are here, sisters are here. But they'll be like, they won't be able to explain
Express themselves, how they really feel, because they're stuck
inside,
talking about it, communicating.
So I beg you that you shouldn't do it in front of your children, because it affects their families that they're going to have later.
Don't you think it's good for them to go for counseling as well? So you need to let them know.
So and if you have a problem, sort it out, and just know that after this, I understand marriages, you can't do without fighting, because one way or the other, you still have problems. I used to, when I was young, I used to look at couples. I used to be like, oh, I wish my couple, me and my husband would be like that one day. But
you're only 10.
But
oh my God, bless you, but honestly, you're only 10. You know, you're. Oh, I'm impressed with you. I think that's you know what, this topic is going to go viral. A lot of people are going to start sharing it. Hearing from a child's point of view, domestic violence, and you used to think about it and look at the people that you know you want to when you grow up. And God will give it to you.
Amen. And
so, are you a church girl? Do you go to church?
I go to church.
Do you worship God properly?
Yeah.
What role do you play in church?
I'm a normal child. But well, not a normal child. I'm a child of God. I pray. Sometimes.
But don't you do like a little participation, like a little usher, or you are in the children's section? I'm
a choir person.
You're in the choir. Oh, that means you have a lovely voice. You know you're coming back on my show again. Tumishe's mom, please. You know I've adopted her. She's my little baby now, so please don't mind. I've told her she's not going anywhere now. So anytime she should just give me a call. So I'm listening to you.
So and sometimes with the youth, we go weekend away. Okay. But the weekend away that.
But you're not your usual thing. So are you in secondary school yet now?
No, I'm in year 6.
You're in year 6.
I'm a late born. December.
When in December?
15.
Okay, you're saggy. You're not a Capricorn. Oh, it's all right then. It doesn't matter. You're still a straight girl.
We go weekend away, but you know how you say we're going weekend away, like my first thought was, yes, we're gonna have like a break of church, nothing to do with godly things, like God forgive me, I'm so sorry, but like you just play, you just have fun. But to be honest, when the first ever weekend away that I experienced, it was the best weekend away. Because
so the
theme was renew my heart, Lord, and we had loads of signs and wonders on that weekend away. We had fun, like on the.
But you know you're gonna do me a favor to me, so listen, because it's good to hear from your point, and also because we're gonna be rounding in a minute. We've been, somebody's been giving us the eye, but we're just going to ignore the eyes. each other's eyes instead. So anyway, what I want you to do for me is, because I am very proud of you, I'm very impressed with, your fantastic knowledge. It's not even little, it's a big knowledge that you have about you. For somebody who's just 10 and not yet in secondary school, quite impressive. I want you to, when you go to church, when you do something, maybe like be an altar or something, talk about the domestic violence and affects kids. How people can help children, and how you can sort of like make sure those in that situation do not grow up to be, because sometimes what normally happens is a child is in that situation, sometimes grows up to be an abuser themselves, they become aggressive, they become bullies in school, and it affects a lot of things that they do. So I want you to be able to come, because you're going to come back again. We're going to talk about something else, but I'll still ask you, I'm going to give you like a little assignment, put it that way. What your role and stuff, you just a little bit of helping those in church, talking about it. And then participating, not just being a church girl. Playing a role, maybe, I don't know, something. So, because God blesses you. Your mom and your dad should be very proud of you. So, I'm sure your mom is watching this program and thinking, Tumishe. But anyway, listen, she has done brilliantly well. Guys, it is nice. Once again, welcome to Facts of Life with Abbilicious. For those who tuned in late, we have the lovely Tumishe, who has come as my special guest today to talk about, looking at domestic violence and spousal abuse from a child's point of view. and she, she's been very entertaining, highly intelligent girl who has told us also how she also helps those that are in that situation, who her mates in school, and we touched up on a lot of stuff. Next week, yes, throughout the next couple of weeks, we will be discussing more things pertaining to relationship and marriages, with special guests coming in, and also experts who are going to be talking to you, our viewers. There's going to be phone-in sections. We're going to have questions being thrown to our guests pertaining to different various topics of relationships, and whether it's good to be single, whether it's good to be, it's going to be a bit controversial, but please don't take it personally. It's not a digging at anybody. Whether it's good to be divorced, being in marriages, stepchildren, how to handle stepchildren, step parenting, husband and wife, step husbands, you name it, various things. Anyway, thank you guys. See you next time, 7:30. Today we were a bit late because we had a previous presenter who was doing his own thing, but we will see you definitely next week for another Facts of Life with Abbilicious, where the truth is being said or told the way it is. And we'll be having more of the kids like lovely OLUWATUMISE, who are able to speak the truth and say it the way it is. God bless you all. Have a fantastic weekend.
Welcome to Amen Estate.
Oh yeah, let's talk on the matter. You see the light never blink when you act.
Everything clean and proper, and there's no place better.
Amen, safe and secure. Now you know. Everything safe and secure.
When you find anywhere with a drop.
Even if you're from abroad.
Amen Estate you should call. Always the package you sure. So
go tell your sister and your brother, tell your friends and family, they happen at
So don't get left behind. At Amen Estate you will find peace of mind.
Amen, safe and secure. Everything safe and secure. Welcome to Amen Estate, brought to you by Red Brick Homes International Limited.
Nelson Spike here, in UK Nollywood headquarters in London. Do you want to be a part of Nollywood? This is your chance. Join the creative team of Nollywood Spotlight, and together we will build Nollywood.